What is good, everybody? It is Spill here, and welcome back to the NBA 2K Lab channel. In this video, we're going to be going back into the builder to take a look at my 6'8 build that I made at NBA 2K24's Community Day. Now, this build isn't perfect by any means, and I don't advise you to copy it, but now that I've had time to digest the builder and look at all the new information, I know exactly what I need to change. Just like in my lockdown video, consider this a guide on how to make 6'8 ball handling guards. Be sure to stay for the whole video because there's a lot of information you don't want to miss when making these types of builds. With that being said, be sure to subscribe and turn noties on for 2K24 daily uploads, and let's get right into it. One of the first things I did at Community Day was try to make a 6'8 build and really push the limits to see if it would still be as powerful as it was in 2K23. Now, 6'8s in 2K23 had Hall of Fame Quick First Step, Hall of Fame Posterizer, Silver Limitless, and even Gold Agent 3 if they wanted it. But with the new builder in 2K24, it's going to be tough to get all those higher level badges, especially at Hall of Fame. But while the badge levels aren't as high, you still have access to nearly every badge on at least Bronze or Silver, which should make the 6'8 guard build very much viable in 2K24. Starting with our vitals, we have a 6'8 point guard with minimum weight and a wingspan of 6'10, and now right off the bat I went with minimum weight because I wanted the extra speed and acceleration, but that might not be the move in 2K24, especially with these taller builds. Now for weight, you'll want to find a nice sweet spot for certain badge levels that fit your playstyle, and we'll talk more about that a little later in the video. Now for wingspan, we're going 6'10 as this gives us Silver Agent 3 with an 86 3-point rating, which for me is a solid threshold since I utilize the Agent 3 badge pretty frequently. You get other badges as well with that 86 3-point threshold, and we'll go more into detail when we get into shooting. But overall, a 6'10 wingspan for guards who want to shoot and finish will likely be the sweet spot for 6'8 builds. Not to mention, you still have access to an 85 steal for Silver Glove, which was an insanely effective silver badge last year. And if you're looking for all of the badge thresholds for every category, you can find them for free at NBA2KLab.com in the sidebar under the badge unlock levels, which is incredibly useful when making your builds. Now for finishing on my build here, I went with an 89 dunk, which is an immediate mistake because you get gold precision dunker at 90 along with some other packages. There were new contact dunk thresholds in NBA 2K24, so if you're wondering why it's an 89 dunk with a 78 vert, that's why. But also, these animation requirements weren't finalized yet either, so take this information with a grain of salt. But until we know the exact requirements, I'll probably stick with an 87 dunk for some contacts, which will still be able to let me fill out the rest of my build. Now you can potentially drop dunk to an 80 for some decent dunk packages if you're looking to save attributes, but you may see a slight hit to your success with better paint defenders. My playstyle involves a healthy amount of dunks, and that's what I enjoy, so I typically want this attribute pretty high. But if you're looking for another route, I would maybe increase close shot, as the masher badge is only in the B tier for 6'8 builds. Being the tallest height at point guard, chances are you'll be facing smaller players at your position, so close shot may work in your favor here. Another note about finishing is that with layup timing being a point of focus in 2K this year, I can see the layup attribute along with close shot being very viable, at least more so than it was in previous years. But with that being said, I'm personally still going dunk over layup. And this is a guide for 6'8 guards, so when it comes to post control, you'll only need it this year if you plan on doing post fades, as the post fade phenom badge requires post control for certain badge levels. If you're not much of a post player, you could just skip this attribute and save the points. Next, we have shooting, and this is pretty straightforward. As a big guard, we want a healthy 3-point rating, and I mentioned we have the 6'10 wingspan for an 86 3-point, which unlocks Silver Agent 3. Now you also get gold open looks and gold spot finder at this threshold, but if you wanted a badge like Space Creator on gold, you have to lower your wingspan another inch or so, but just be mindful, you will be affecting your defensive badge thresholds. That's why this year in the builder, these are tough decisions you'll have to make on your build, which definitely promotes a healthy balance within the game. Now my playstyle mainly focuses on 3-point shooting and dunking, but in 2K24, mid-range has gotten a nice boost and looks to be one of the more effective ways to score. Not only that, but with lower 3-point ratings in general across most builds, increasing your mid-range is one of the only ways to get your shooting badges at higher levels. As we get to playmaking, this is an area we don't have much wiggle room as a 6'8 guard, and as a point guard, you want to make sure you have a good amount of pass act this year, but how much really depends on your playstyle and game mode. If you're a park player in 2s or 3s, I can see a 75 pass accuracy rating being viable if you're the primary scorer, but when you get to 5v5, I wouldn't skip too much on this attribute, and I'm at least looking for an 80 pass accuracy. Not only that, but I'm even considering an 87 for Bronze Bailout. Touch Passer is another badge I'm looking to target, and when I experienced it at Community Day, it felt really good, so for this build, I'm probably going to bump this to an 82 for at least silver touch passer to make sure my teammates are getting those timely passes. Play with different thresholds and see what you like, but so far it looks like 75 to 82 pass act will be a good sweet spot, at least early on. Now for ball handling, we don't have to think too much about this one. 6'8 builds max out at an 85 ball handle, which has unlocked a lot of good sigs in past 2K, so we'll want this as high as we can get it. And then speed with ball is another hot topic, but for this, like last year, we need to see what dribble styles will be unlocked at which ratings and how effective they're going to be, but until we do, I'm keeping this attribute at whatever animation or badge threshold that I need. Our defense here is pretty well rounded, which makes this 6'8 build viable in all aspects of the court. We have the 85 perimeter defense for silver clamps, and then we went with an 81 steal for silver interceptor. If you want more steal though, I'd recommend going to at least an 85 for silver glove to be more effective in that area. Then we have a 68 block for bronze chase down artist, which has always been one of the best bronze badges every year, and if I could, I would at least aim for bronze anchor on this build with a 77 block, but with this current build, I'll have to be moving a lot of things around to fit that badge in. You'll have to play with these different thresholds to see what fits your build and play style the best, but at the very least, this build will definitely be a capable defender. As a point guard, we're skipping the rebound, and then let's take a look at one of our most important categories this year in NBA 2K24, the physicals. An 81 speed rating is almost perfect on a 6'8 guard, as it's one of the requirements for silver speed booster along with the 75 speed with ball, so just make sure you're getting at least those things on your tall guard build. For acceleration, we typically want this as high as we can get it, but again, just make sure you at least have enough for the important badges. Now, one of the most important attributes this year on the 6'8 builds is strength, and now as a taller build, especially at guard, you're going to need strength to make sure you're effective in the areas that need it. Now, badges like bulldozer and fearless finisher need high amounts of strength for the higher levels of these badges, but one badge I think is the most important when it comes to strength is the physical handles badge. This badge lessens the chance of being bothered by defenders on the perimeter while dribbling, and definitely seems like it was made for taller guard builds. I'm gonna play around with the different strength thresholds and see what works for me, and I advise you guys do the same. Now for vertical, as I mentioned before, we're just going for the contact dunk threshold, and then for stamina, I always like for it to be pretty high, but for a build like this, you'll want at least a 93 for access to silver handles for days. And then you have badges like workhorse and 94 feet are also gated by stamina, so just keep those things in mind as well. Now that is the 6'8 guard build guide. I hope you all learned something from this video, and if you did, feel free to drop a like and stay tuned for more 2K24 content and daily uploads. Until then, it's been Spill, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.